Well, on this episode here, I'm joined by a couple great leaders from the Okoboji Foundation, Mindy Gress, who is currently the president, and Michelle Goodnow, who serves as the secretary of the board. Hey, welcome and thanks for your time today.
Thanks for having us, Joe.
Yeah, thank you.
You bet. So we're kicking off every interview with, if we come to your community, where would you take us for the day before we go back home in the evening? So Michelle, maybe start us off.
Sure. Wow, there are so many places in Okoboji to visit, but the first thing that comes to my mind would be a stroll down the promenade and then onto the boardwalk at Arnold's Park Amusement Park. It's just a beautiful area, and stop at the State Pier and watch the boats go by and grab a nutty bar.
Perfect.
And I would just piggyback off that right up the way from the boardwalk is the Okoboji Tourism Office. And there is so much that goes on in the lakes area. And the staff there just knows everything, whether it's an event or an actual place you should visit. And they'll even lay out a day for you. So that's where I would start, is the tourism office.
Yeah, your community is very blessed with a lot of great amenities. So the Okoboji Foundation has been in existence since the late 80s. And from my perspective, part of its success has always been a strong board and a culture that's maintained a strong board. When I think of your board, everyone's accountable. Folks are willing to put in the work. They're trustworthy and they've been forward thinking. And so I'm just curious, from your perspective, how has that culture been built and maintained over the years to have a strong board? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll start off by saying, yeah, over the past 32 years, we've basically built our culture on the original vision of the foundation, which is to improve the quality of life in the Iowa Great Lakes. And when we're recruiting board members, it's really important to strategically think it out. Keep some things in mind, like are they passionate about the area? Can they influence others? Are they going to actively participate on your board? And our board is unique in the fact that we have a really geographically diverse donor base. A lot of our donors are summer residents. So we have people from Sioux Falls, Sioux City, Des Moines, Minneapolis, Omaha. And we always try and keep our board members, keep in mind that we want someone to represent that geographical area. And then also diversity when it comes to age, gender, profession, interests, and all of that.
Yeah, for sure.
And the only thing I would add to that is, from my time here, I have seen that the board actively participates in that process of bringing on new board members. And, it's not about the warm body. Michelle and I just had this conversation yesterday. We're always looking for those people that are the movers and the shakers, those that are going to be willing to stand up and do some, help with the work. And as a staff person, that's a blessing and something that I really appreciate, because when we do have ideas, A, the board is open to hearing new ideas, and then B, they're willing to say, hey, I'll help in this way to make that a reality. And so I think that's the culture that has been built over the course of the 32 years is we're not going to bring on warm bodies. It needs to be people who really want to see the mission succeed.
For sure. And Mindy, I'm going to stick with you on that point. As a staff person, what are things that you're doing to get to know your board members better and maybe help them leverage their skill set for the organization?
We try to stay in contact regularly. Things like monthly updates from me are simple touches. But again, all of our board members are willing to, I get to pick up the phone and just have a conversation with them. So when I have a question, I don't hesitate to do that. And I think that helps build the relationship back and forth of the trust that they place in me and the trust that I have in their work with me. And so really just staying in contact with each other and knowing that it's a team effort.
Yeah. And then to Michelle, and this might be a challenging question, but I know you're up for it. You know, you guys have the bar up here in terms of expectations. Have you ever had to have a conversation with a board member that maybe isn't meeting expectations, and how do you hold each other accountable as kind of a peer group?
Yeah, that's a hard question. Like any nonprofit board, you know, we've had periods where we may have a board member that isn't actively participating. Maybe our board's not as cohesive as it should be. A couple of times over the years, you know, maybe you sit down with your board and talk about some strategic planning. Maybe you talk to that person one-on-one and say, you know, are you really that interested? And how can we help you? Do you need more information? Is this just too much of a time commitment for you? But just be open and honest.
Yeah, I think just giving people the space to have that conversation and figure out what we can do to make it a better relationship, or maybe it's time to part ways, and that's okay too.
Right.
Yeah. Kind of last question on this topic is, how do you handle the recruitment process of new board members? Is that done through a committee? Does staff lead that? How do you go about bringing and onboarding a new board member?
We actually have a pretty good process in place, and it's we've strategically thought it out. Our new board members are elected at our annual meeting every year, but throughout the entire year, we encourage our current board members to bring forward names of candidates, of people who might make a good board member. And then the nominating committee, which is always chaired by the vice president, periodically meets and discusses those candidates. And then let's say I nominate someone, and then so Mindy and I might we would take that person, you know, to lunch and speak with them and kind of gauge their level of interest. And then we actually have them fill out a short survey. You know, what are their interests? You know, what are they passionate about? Are they interested in being on the board? And then the board members can read about this candidate. So it's a process. We don't just randomly select someone. And I think that's also what keeps our board strong.
Yeah, you do your due diligence.
Yeah, and I would also offer that over the years, it's the board has been, when we're reaching out to new prospects, we're straightforward or forthcoming with what we do expect from them as a board member. And we want them engaged. We want them to be somebody who believes in the mission, not just in word, but also in doing. And so we do require that they are donors at a certain level. And those are all expectations that are set up out, you know, in front of them, so that they have that decision to just, you know, are we going to be that engaged at that level?
Yeah, no, I think saying expectations up front is super key to maintain that culture. So last question for both of you, and this is putting your forward thinking caps. What are you hopeful for the future of your community foundation? What are you looking forward to?
Well, I'll keep it simple. I'm really hopeful that our foundation continues to grow so that we can continue to support everything that's wonderful about the Iowa Great Lakes and ensure its future.
My hope for the Okoboji Foundation is that we just continue to put that message out and reach the next generation of giving and keep teaching the importance of giving back to your community.
Well, that's perfect. Thank you so much. I hope you guys understand that Okoboji Foundation really is a model for community foundations. You guys have done so well over the years, and we really appreciate your partnership. So thanks for taking time to do this interview today.
Thanks, Joe.